Sue O'Halloran here, one of the co-owners of Camo Real Estate, and our company itself is now celebrating its 30th year. Actually, I think probably 31 or 32 now that I think about it. But I've lived here first in 1965, so I go back a long time, and then came back again in the 1970s, so lots of history here in Gresham. Well, you know, growing up, I grew up in Portland. I'm what's called Grant Granny because I went to Grant High School, and for whatever reason, that's became the little title that we all had to carry around with us. But Grant High School was at that time, when I was there, the largest in the state, but a great education, and all kinds of famous people graduated from Grant High School. Well, one of the most famous probably is Bob Packwood was a Grant High School graduate. But there were people who headed up the Bonneville Power Administration, and some of the famous people, Schnitzers and some of those folks, they were also Grant people. You know, it's interesting, I've gotten asked many a time why I came to Gresham. Of course, when I was a kid, we picked the berries and we came out to the fair. But I think what attracted me, actually, Gresham was a small town at that point in time. We still think of ourselves as a small town. But I liked the small town appeal and the fact that you could come here and really get to know the city, the people. It's an opportunity to be involved way back then as well as it is now. And my hiatus, we went over to Boise, Idaho, which now has become quite the popular place. Back in the day, though, that's when my first marriage, and we went over there because a big Air Force Mountain home closed in Idaho, and so FHA had all of these homes to sell, and so my husband went over there at that time to sell homes for FHA. So we lived there for about 5 years, and then it was a question of, do we stay in Idaho and Boise or come home? But the reality is, I missed the springs, I missed the trees, and had to come back home again. Most all of my kids were Barlow High School, as well as second marriage, and all of that part of the family are also Barlow High School kids. So from that standpoint, now I have grandchildren, they're at Gresham, so we have our hearts in Barlow and at Gresham High School now. But they're great schools. We've really loved all of the teachers and administrators we've known through the years. You know, it's a relatively easy place because people do talk to one another here. So in real estate, it is really about relationships, about making friends and helping one another. So I'd have to say it was a great place for me to eventually land. I worked all over Portland, honestly, before coming here, but we hooked our kite, so to speak, to the revitalization of downtown Gresham. So once we located our office in historic downtown, that also has become part of the passion of my later working years, is making the best downtown we can possibly have. So I'm sitting here in what was originally a big bakery. It was Mark's, but most famously known as the Franz Bakery. And I remember bringing my kids here to the outlet store right on Main Street. So all of its history is close to home. But this was a huge warehouse, which has now become office space. It's become the little theater. U.S. World Taekwondo takes part of the space up. And we've made what was a warehouse in the heart of downtown into lively and really interesting building with art and all kinds of opportunities here to do art and music. Well, I've probably been involved in a number of different things here in Gresham, partly because I'm curious, and I always like to have my say-so, probably. So I've served on the City of Gresham's Finance Committee, and actually just now retired from that after 13 years. But I started out back with hospice, and that was one of my early opportunities to serve. And then since then, part of the Seroptimist, still do that, help marshal out the teddy bear parade. But my latest and greatest, I think, is the Center for the Arts Foundation. So we're now in our 21st year, and then we were able, with some of my real estate work, to bring a piece of property granted to the city of Gresham for what's the Arts Plaza. And so now with that Arts Plaza, we present every summer in July and August Music Mondays. So that's probably something I'm most happy with. But we have art sculptures there, all kinds of different kinds of things that have happened with the Center for the Arts Foundation and opportunities for artists and musicians. But lately also I've been involved with Mount Hood Community College's foundation and love that community college and what it brings, opportunities for young people, well, and not just young. Seniors are there as well, learning new things to do. There's probably one or two others that I can mention, but those are probably the more important ones. And of course, I should mention the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce, because it's been a focal point for me and a long time ago, past president, but it's something that I truly believe is a wonderful benefit for our businesses here in town. Mount Hood Community College is something we sometimes just see sitting along the road and forget all the opportunities that happen there. You can go to Mount Hood Community College, you can enter real estate, you can go to Mount Hood Community College and learn how to work on a car, but more importantly, you go to Mount Hood Community College to actually learn how to work in a team environment, learning how to communicate is such a big skill that is needed in today's world. So I think part of it is learning how to express yourself, and that it's right here, right at home, it's affordable, all kinds of scholarships, and what other small, I always think still of Gresham is small, but very few have a community college right in the heart of their town. And the opportunities that we can do, a variety of physical and mental and social opportunities there. Well, arts, sometimes I say bring out the best in people, but it is something that we like to share. And arts are a recognition that the human spirit is at work, because it's really, art comes from inside you, and it's the expressions that you bring out to share. And many a year ago, I used to say that Gresham had very little in arts and culture, but it's because of people like Judy Hahn, like myself, others who recognize that art is what brings beauty to the world right in front of you. We appreciate the natural environment, but what we as humans can create is a whole nother something that's special. Gresham is, my thought, is a special place that we who live here know and appreciate, but for whatever reasons, the stories about it that we may read elsewhere tell a different story than those who live here know. It is a space where people talk to one another, they smile at one another, they're courteous to one another. Now, I'm not saying that's probably 100%, but 99% of the time that's true. But we have beauty around us. We're close to the water, we're close to the mountain. But I think people who live here do appreciate this place that they live, and they appreciate the fact that there are others who understand that this is special. It's a place for families. It's a place for you to be you as well.